Let's see. Looks probably much grosser on the video than in person. But it's not exactly a finished basement, that's for sure. When I separated, I moved out into an apartment, and I didn't like that. I like space. There's all these noises and smells and trains and ambulances and people, and there's all this wireless signal and cell phones and the way they run the power in the apartments, and like it feels like you're boxed in. I really don't like that energy. Then I moved into a bedroom with my sister. She has a big house. And then I moved into this house. A connection. That's Taurus. So Uranus is in Taurus. Squaring my IC, opposing my AC. And progressively, it's in the 6th house. That's the house of, well, depends on what perspective you look at. They say bad spirit, but I just say that's where you can bring heaven or hell to life. It's the 6th house. And it's within you. It's in what you do, how you feel, how your body is, your relationship with your body, with your surroundings. Are you grounded? What does it take to ground you? Do you do that? So I've been ungrounded for a while here. I'm not accustomed to moving around. So this is the first time I decided to actually organize, because I didn't know how long I'd be here. But when you take the time to settle into something, you really get grounded. You get absorbed into the moment. So I haven't done that for a while, so I'm feeling that right now. But because I've experienced life, I know that as soon as I settle, that's when the wind or the hand or something unsettles. And that's not in a negative way. It's like waking up every morning. You know, if you're on a schedule, it doesn't matter how you feel, you get up and you do your thing. So using that energy for the self is kind of hard when there's no other motivation. And it's really hard to find that if you can't ground yourself in life, in your surroundings, in your connections, in what you're doing. You know, I was a cube jockey for many years in IT, and that's pretty monotonous. So not entraining my mind and absorbing all my energy for these petty things, just to live a status quo existence, no longer made sense. I couldn't do it anymore. And it wasn't only the job that needed to change, but all the statics in my life, all the things that had stopped growing, which were restricting me. So I unpeeled myself, unraveled life as best I could, just following what I felt was right, and I think it was right, it feels right. I did right. And that was my Uranian opposition. Uranus, Prometheus brings you the fire of the gods, the knowledge of the gods. And it's a torturous process where you are constantly in a flux of being thrown back to checking out of the equation or stepping into it. And you're oscillating in between, and it's tempering your spirit so that you understand choice, what it's like to fail, what it's like to succeed, the value of those. And I'm not saying I completely understand it all, because I think after you're imprinted with information, when you feel the spirit, the words need the world and experience to bring life to meaning, so that your awareness can grasp. So I'm in the aftershocks of the Uranian opposition, the Prometheus process, Promethean process. Everyone goes through it. Some people, they digest slower, so maybe they get helped along with the Chiron return in certain respects and the second Saturn return. I digress. So Uranus in Taurus, we're breaking the binds which bound us. Everyone's been feeling it. When you don't identify it within yourself, you find it in others, in the world around you. You settle into joining movements, you protest, you pick sides, you delineate, segregate, isolate. Parasites, xenophobia, phobias of every kind, and mechanisms to induce and control them, phobias, are deployed. That's friction. A lot of people don't understand it, care about it, they're busy doing their life, and that's good. We got to do what we feel drawn to do. But me, I'm settling into being unsettled. And the world is going to reflect that, I feel, because I'm always a little bit ahead of them. I have good ideas, but I'm just out of sync with reality. At least in terms of observance. So the only world that's like here now is mine. And finding ways to relate to reality is how I cultivate my spirit, and I chose not to give it to the system. This is the closest thing other than taxes, which I got to do. Economy is changing. Venus is in Taurus here. Should be hitting Uranus soon. Banks are going down. You know, the fiat currency is being overhauled. It's being buried and it's jumping to CBDCs, digital currencies. It seems like there's resistance to this, but I'm not so certain. The world is a stage, you know. But no matter what happens, we make the best and we find our ways and it works. So this is not financial advice, but I would definitely get your hands on ISO 20022 coins, specifically XRP from Ripple. If you could invest as much as you can, that's good. Time will tell. I actually hope that the system doesn't succeed, but if it does, I'm not going to be on the bottom. And if you want that kind of insurance, then I would suggest getting some XRP from Uphold, if they're pretty sure they're still selling. I don't know, check into it. I'll put some links. But diversity, and then minerals, silver, gold. But I mean, I'm not really advocating much investment outside the self, really, because if you're aligned and you're in your spirit, living from your heart, none of that stuff matters. You find your way. But if you're tied into the system, tied into others, you've got obligations, you've got other things, and spread your nets, you know, and start to invest in yourself. Find ways to peel yourself away from this shit show before you fall into the indoctrination of this idiocracy as it crumbles and cannibalizes itself. If you're in a city, I would suggest getting out. I plan on being a few hours outside major cities. But that's more so because I want the space. Close enough to go there if you need to, but not subject to the shadow. Establishing connection with others of like mind. Or strategic utility, you know. I think the value in connections is important right now. Where your energy goes, your attention flows, and that's all you got, really. That's the most powerful currency in existence. Without your focus, nothing happens. You're just living in a dream. Other people are bound to different things. Don't let their bindings hold you. You got to show them what spirit is by living. You know, you are the sculptor of your life. Just because it was one thing for so long doesn't mean you can't re-wet it and form it a different way. Or add something to it. Because, you know, you don't start from scratch no matter what happens. You start from your experiences, and that's when you apply knowledge and you express and gain and feed into your wisdom. And just simply doing that, I feel, helps to cultivate a healthy ego. Something where you are 50-50 at least. Sure, we get pulled in and out. So we're in oscillation. So when you're in center, you snap back, you know. You don't drift, trying to swim back. Hard to do in life circumstances. I've been in places where this advice wouldn't have done jack shit for me. But I can tell you, because I've been through that I know what it does. It brings you to form. Makes you realize where you put your attention, that's where your form is, that's what it is. So put the form to something you want to put the form to. Where's value for you? What feeds your spirit, makes you feel good? You have to go in those directions now, otherwise you check out or check in and you jack yourself more into the system, and you hold your virtue as your mask for others to feel less bad about their mistakes too. And the mistake is simply in not acting. Knowing the truth and not acting. It doesn't matter if you've been wrong 1,000,000 times, you just got to be right once. And then things start to become a habit. You become right more often because you're following your heart. Your heart is directing the mind. And then the ego is formed around that. So it's more an authentic expression of who you truly are. And you don't care if you hurt another person's ego by being who you are. Because you know that's part of the process. You've been through it yourself. We need each other to be who we are in order to grow. And if you don't know who you are, you figure it out figure it out on the fly, you know. That's real life. That's Aries. You have to allow spirit to abode. You can't do it intellectually. You can't think about it. It has to be in the flow of life. But when you feel drawn to something, that's where you go. That's all. It's as simple as that right now. Mars in Cancer is going to really help us to understand the language for that. And then we'll just simply settle into choice. Do we got what it takes to choose what's best for us? Knowing that we don't know the outcome. But also knowing the intention is pure. By living your best life, by doing your best thing, you help others to try and do that for themselves because they see that it can be possibly done. It's been done in the past by others. The world gives us all these distractions, all these things, the libations of life which pull us away. We live for pleasure. In the immortal words of Ronnie James Dio, don't live for pleasure, make life your treasure. And so that's why life is art to me. That's how I've felt since day one. I just didn't understand it. Because when you first start learning, you're just copying things. You're copying what people like, what they think is cool because you want the attention. You want to be known. Then you realize how that's a ghost in the machine, you know, but in reversed. It's like spirits outside the form just watching the ego perform. Then you step away, you create divides. You find something within yourself and you start to figure out your own way. Then you can bring that back out. That's the quest. One of the first quests we learn, and it comes to us as in childhood, and we gotta bring the child to light. That's the fire, you gotta feed that, the pure flame. So how do you feed that? Following your heart is the surest path. How do you know what's in your heart? Well, what doesn't hurt you? What heals you? That which heals you heals others, heals the world. That's Chiron, but you have to take the step. If you show initiative, then you put spirit to form. That's reality. So Uranus in Taurus, it's busting things up, values, opening things up so that when Uranus hits Gemini, we can expand. That's why Mercury is being influenced for so long by our passions with Mars. Passions which were being fed by emotions, a lot of broken loops caused by bent coils in the machinery from experiences. So you are your own healer, and the healing isn't psychological, it isn't health related, it isn't in astrology, it's in all things. And you got to figure out what that is and figure out the languages that help you decode that. And you might not need to think of it cognitively, just follow your passion. Because the mind will react to what the heart wants, and the heart is center of the child. We get pulled out of it, and we got to get back to it, because getting back to that separates you from all the shit show. It separates you from other people's chaos. When Persephone went down to Hades, that was 6 months of the year. Now she's coming out. All the wisdom, all the pain, all the suffering, all the coldness, the isolation, all the power over energetics. They come with her, of course, but as she walks into the sun, time and field, she starts to breathe. The sun bathes her in new light. That's a baptism, That's Phoenix rising. So that is perception and power. And it's a realization period where we have to realize our power, but we have to do it from our heart, not our ego. Otherwise, we go into the circus. So the values have to be broken up so that you can find them and create them and co-create them with others of like mind, spirit, with the world, with what you feel drawn and driven to do. And that's what we will be bringing into actual action when Uranus is in Gemini. In the middle of Gemini is Uranus's north node, and it is heavily symphonic. I'm not going to say karmic, but there's a rhythm. We are healing Uranus, Prometheus, through living it, not hiding from it. So the more you get into that now, the stronger you'll be when Uranus is in Gemini. I believe that's 2027. 2025? Maybe 2025. I don't know. I'll look at the dates. Maybe I'll add them in here. I guess I just rambled. Well, thanks for listening. What's going on, Leo? How are you? I gotta work on my camera skill. Alright, now I'm a cat man. I'm taking cat videos. What the hell is happening?